still have 5 minutes. People are going to come in. But let's talk of light little things that doesn't really matter. This morning I started by saying it was going to be a heavy one. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of emotions. Your resistance just rose. Defense is like, okay, we got to get ready to feel correctly, but what happens in the subconscious mind is defense. It doesn't change a thing. Now I'm going to tell you, this boot camp is going to be a soft and easy one. You're going to have fun. Relax. There's going to be integration. There's going to be moments like this, but it's going to be mostly fun, like the usual. Just look at all the defenses that come up in function of what you expect is going to happen. What is supposed to change anyway? Okay, did you see this? It's part of the game. It's part of the delivery system of the Dharma. Okay, I'm ready to integrate, and all your surface stuff is getting ready, and all the subsurface stuff is building fences and placarding the windows with plywood. Okay, if it's heavy, all right, try to block it up as much as we can. And then you got both. You got your conscious mind saying, okay, we need to feel, we need to go, we need to integrate fast so it doesn't stay. And the subconscious says, no, my way of doing things just negate most of it so it won't hurt. Well, that was part of the game. The lights were dimmer, the mood, my voice was softer. It's going to be a hard one, Poor you. So you got in the Shraddha experience, in the teaching, a part of what we mean by just being there, simply. Whatever happens, how much you prepare yourself to face life, those insecurities, that's also an absence of faith or a lack of faith. In faith is, we'll see what happens when it happens. On the road, warnings are useful to know if you're going to have to turn left or right, but in life, warnings, you just pay attention to them also to react when you get in that corner that you have to turn. So let's say you have a warning, tight turn right in 500 yards, and you go, turn right, and there's still 450 yards before it's time to actually do it. That's insecurity, That's looking at life signs and reacting too promptly, too intensely, and until you get to that tight turn, until you get to that moment, freaking out. That's because you're still not here. That's because you're not in the place right now. So in Shraddha, for example, this morning when I told you it was going to be a heavy one, a hard seminar, so the defense is raised. Well, okay, what raised? What rose up inside you when I told you it was going to be a heavy one? Fear, for example. And now I'm telling you it's going to be an easy and soft one. Just forget it. It was just all a lie. It's going to be a soft and easy joyride. I'm going to watch movies. Already have 2 of them purchased already. The Love Guru, which will be a good parody of the drama and Hindu teachings. I like it. But we're going to do integration work watching the movie. And, we're going to have fun. It's going to be soft, but look at the defenses that rose. That is not faith. Okay? I understand personally the warnings when there was going to be 50 people or so at the boot camp, which is the biggest that I've managed so far, which doesn't seem dramatic, but when it was 15, it was a few rooms. Now there's much more rooms. It's many $1,000s to get 9 nights for everyone, place everyone. Now the food, we got issues with the food, with how we place the chairs. It's bringing management stuff. And before I start to see your down payments come in, I was wondering if I was going to make it. Said, ooh, a lot of people are taking the arrangement, like, can I pay in 5 installments? Say, yeah, but I don't have $40,000 backup to pay the fees of the event. So I hope some people will just come in. And actually, I think I'm going to be fine now. And I will be making profit in the future as people who took the installment plan respect their agreement, because it's going to be a heavy one for me too. So freaking out before all of this happened was not useful. I just had to be wise. So when you have a tight turn coming, 500 yards, tight turn right, don't start to turn right away. Because if you start to stress your wheel, right away you're gonna not go in the direction you really wanted. Go over the boardwalk into someone's home, something. But it won't be your place in this case. Breathe. Pay attention to the defense system that rose when I told you it is going to be hard. Until it gets hard, it is not. And when it does, just manage it. So what's the fate? What's the fate's way to deal with that? In life, tight turns, we have those. I'll take something positive now. When there was 15 or 20 people at boot camps, like 40 and 60 for the seminars, but just a few for the boot camps, I could manage everything alone. But I had to do everything. And now I've got a few people I can just look and nudge and say, they know what it means. It's a binary code. I nudge once, it means 0. I nudge another time, it means 1. If I had nudged in the past, it's just change mode. So if I look at my airbender and say, and he knows not now, but when it gets warm, he knows it means we're too warm. And I got these little calls there. It's cool. And for room association, there's Swahavai, but from this girl, she's the manager of the boot camp, and you've all dealt with her, I think. And Swahavai has been going through a lot of trouble in short nights lately, for everything to be cared for, so you can just have your room keys and hop in and start to enjoy the Dharma. Okay, thank you. So eventually, as you gain more experience, it's fun when you can delegate responsibilities to loosen the pressure on those who work very hard. And now Suki is enjoying being just a student. Isn't it fun? You're actually doing a lot of chores also, but in service, just to help.
It's very different.
Yeah, it's not your head onto the hacks. Well, basically, that's how we feel, We feel if we screw up, something's going to go wrong. Yeah, you don't care. All right.
I have my little issues with it. It's like, okay, I need to just take a breath and now I need to act on this. But I'm doing my best not to be in the drama about it because it doesn't solve the issue.
Yeah. So there's right action. You have to act at the moment that you have to act. And then, when it's time, you do integration, when you get there. It's better to do integration before, so that your right action, at the right time, the right way, will be as best as possible. But if you're not done integrating, don't say, I'm not turning right now. I'm still not done integrating that turn. Will happen with the same result of turning too quickly. It will not be in that road you wanted to go, or house, or boardwalk, or whoever you did in the way. So, in life, to recap a phrase that has been used often by Dalai Lama, and I really enjoy it, if there's a situation you cannot change, why worry? You can't change it. And if you can change it, why worry? Just change it. That's easy to know in the head, But then something inside you freaks out and doesn't really care about the Dharma. It goes, Dude, I'm afraid. Yeah, but it's useless to worry about it. I don't care if it's useful. I'm afraid, man. There's this little thing. You know, you're trying to convince yourself, I shouldn't worry right now. It's not the point. It's this little thing inside you. It's your kid, you know. It's your inner kid. Useful? It's not useful to worry? I know, man. That's not why I worry. I'm not worrying because it's useful. I'm not going to stop worrying if it's useless. I worry because this is what the kid does. It just worries. It's stuck with that power, that energy, because it's not well rooted on the ground with faith. Okay. So you've got a lot of energy going up inside you. Consciousness rising from nature and filling up your head with hot hair, and you get proud and arrogant and heavy, okay? And all that, you know, your life experiences that cause you to go crazy and you don't know how to think. That's a lot of potentials rising and filling up your head. To anchor those down, you need to bring your energy back down. But you can't just visualize it. That doesn't work. It's like trying to explain to your kid not to worry when it is. You can't visualize your consciousness back in your root chakra. No. You need to feel the sanctified or the purified way of being at the level of the base chakra, which is faith. It's to feel seated. This is what's going on now. Down to the earth, simple, and that's that. And then, okay, now from this secure and stable point where I don't need the outside to confirm that I exist or not, that I don't need the outside to confirm is everything is okay or not. I'm going to feel okay now. I'm alive, I'm okay, I don't need to save my life right now, I'm not threatened. Okay, so let's deal with the next thing. What can I do now? One thing at a time. Well seated in faith. Okay. So to have faith in God is not faith. That's dogma. To have faith in life, to have faith in the universe, this is not faith. Okay? That's control. To have faith is to have faith, period. It's a state. Faith is a state. Of course, God seems to be involved in there as much as any other experience. The same way I say when you're in love with someone, there's attachment, there's desires, there's love, there's tons of things, but it's not the pure, undefined love. Pure, undefined love is when you are in love, period. There's no one you're in love with. It's just I am in love. That's the real love. Just be in. And there's no one related. There's nothing outside, inside. It's just there is love. And of course, the human needs someone outside to anchor it, so we'll be in love with someone, and you lose the purity of the love. It becomes natural love, which is pretty cool. It's completely acceptable. It's actually, we're built to have external experiences of love, which are great. But this is not the pure, most refined experience of it. Okay? Just remember, to be in love, when it stops there and there's no object of who or what you're in love with, that is love. Okay? It's something extremely personal and intimate with yourself and God. So to be in love with God, then you have personified God as someone that you can be in love with. Therefore, it's not the real love. Because God is not a person. God is a concept, an abstract. It's a universal, fundamental truth which is undefined and cannot be grasped. If you have a definition of what is God, whatever you've defined it, there's a higher origin that emitted it, that created it. Okay? So if your God is white light, beautiful white light, then that's Christ, that's Vishnu. Okay? That's everything. But it's not God, not the origin. Because the white light came from somewhere. Okay? Now that's a hard concept to grasp, okay? Just try your best. If your God is pure white light, then it's not the most above, highest source. Because this white light was emitted or comes from something. God to the highest point, the origin, the source, the most profound and highest way to think of the generation of all things is nothing. If it was something, it would have come out of something. Okay? So it's nothing. It's the non-existent. In Buddhism, in Zen Buddhism, we say, if your God exists, it's not the right one. If he doesn't, then it's the good one. Okay? If your God does not exist, then it really is God. And if your God exists, then there's something beyond it. So it's very hard to grasp because it makes no sense. Could we say it's a paradigm or a paradox?
Paradox.
Yeah. So you understand what paradox means? The idea of two things that by themselves are truth, but together does not fit. Well, that's paradoxal. And that's the highest paradox of all. That's a question beyond the chicken and the egg, you know. To the chicken and the egg, which come first? You can always answer God, you know. God came before the chicken and the egg. But to God, what came first? Now it's the linear mind that needs to align things one after the other for them to make sense. It's the mind that believes in time. Time does not exist. There's only now. Because anything that happened in the past, at the moment it happened, it was now when it happened. So there's only now. And in the future, whenever it will happen, it will be now when it does. So there's only now. So time does not exist. Although there is a permanent now that is self-modulating, so the previous modulation that we remember, because we call this the past, although it's still just now. And what will happen as planned, predicted, the fate or free will, or whatever will happen, we call this the future. It's still just one instant now. And time does not advance forward. It doesn't. Time does not move. It does not exist. There is no such thing as time. Time is a concept of reference, of memories, of modulation of the only thing that exists now. Fate is to be in that now, which is the only thing that exists. Because the only world that exists is the one that exists right now, which was modulated in the past as the ideas we have of what it was, and the idea that we have of what it could be or will be, which is what we said future. But it's not like a little car traveling on a road. In order to understand time in its linear way on a clock, we put little bars, and then we put calendars, and we put systems. And the more we build systems about time, the more we think it's something advancing. Because this is how we draw it on a chart in the world of distinction. But in a world of non-distinction, where nothing can have distinction with another, there is no time, because there's only now. And if there's only now, why name it now? So now does not exist. But it's the only thing real. Okay. Very Zen, eh? All Shraddha thinking. We're going to Chaitanya soon. Okay? So I'm making a bridge to that part. Okay. If everything in the universe was made of rock, if it was the only matter that existed, of course, we can't understand how it could. But let's imagine that the only thing that exists is rock. Would we call it rock? We would not distinguish rock from any other substance because none other exists. So there's only rock. So we don't name it. We just take it for granted. So there's a male rock, there's a female rock, there's the blue, the green, and the white, and the one that flows and the one that goes. But everything is rock. So we just forget about the word rock because we have no need to distinguish it because it's the only thing that exists. Therefore, we never use the name rock if in a world where only rock exists. You understand? If it's the only thing that exists, then we don't name it, therefore it doesn't. It becomes obsolete to define it in any way. If there was no gender, if every gender in the universe was female, gets your mind running, eh? When I do this teaching, I say, imagine every gender in the world being male, and all the females go, and the males go, yeah, okay. So instead I say to teach you, imagine every gender in the universe being female, so the females go, yay, and the males go, okay, you know. So If the only gender that existed was female, we would not call it female. We would not call it gender. The idea of gender and female or femininity, this differentiation would not exist because it would be the only way to be, so we wouldn't even talk about it. Do you understand? So in a world where only femininity exists, then femininity does not exist because we don't define it as something that does. Do you understand that? So from the point of view of the self, the Atma or the soul, time does not exist. It does, but there's only one time, and it's now, so why talk about it? So it doesn't. So we don't define it as something that is. But there really is something, but it's the only thing that is obvious, so let's just take it for what it is. So now, in the concept of time, exists only in our falsified mind that believe in past and future. Okay, you get this? But if there's no past and future, but only methods of organizing our efficiency in life, then there's no time. There's just now. And if there's just now, well, now makes no sense. It exists, but what's the point? What's the point of being just now? So, you know the idea between here and everywhere? Well, from the point of view of the soul, there's now and every when. And the same idea is just non-timely. The every when, which makes no sense for us. It's eternity or forever or infinite in terms of time and temporality. The concepts we have to organize our life brought us to separate ourselves from the real, the reality, the only thing that is real. And if it's the only thing that is real, then why mention it? Let's just take it for what it is. So Shraddha is that pure beingness there. When I told you this morning that it was going to be a hard and heavy one, and you freaked out, you lost objectivity, okay? Chitani is the objective mind, not the objective intellect, but the objective mind. The mind is not just what you think in your head, it's also your feelings. The mind is something bigger. Chitta is not manasa. Manasa is the intellect in Sanskrit, and chitta is everything beyond the body. So all the feelings, all the psychology, all the psyche that you have is chitta. Okay? Chitta, or the broader experience of mind, is everything between your body and your soul. So that it's still human, but it's untangible, but it's obvious. The objective mind is if we tell you this is going to be hard, you don't care. With an objective mind, you just think according to who? Let's say you have a 20-pound weight to lift. You have 20 pounds to lift, and you tell someone that weighs about 20 pounds, maybe weighs 100 pounds, not too trained, lift this, it's going to be hard. Well, maybe this person's going to find it hard. So then you see it's hard, eh? You try it, Red, and you just go, yeah, whatever, Who said it was hard? According to who? So when I said this boot camp will be a hard one, according to who? If you can deal with your stuff, it's going to be an easy one. See how you got into the confusion, into the belief of Maha says it's going to be hard, we're going to trigger defense systems, we're going to shake inside, we're going to resist, we're going to blame, we're going to prepare ourselves mentally. Who said it was going to be hard? I did. I told you not to trust me at one point. Trust comes naturally. It's normal after a while that you study with me, trust comes because you've got the experience. Okay, what Maha teaches, it works for me. So that's trust. When I say don't trust me, it means don't make an effort to trust me, because until you have an experience, it's not a valid trust. It's just bullshit. Just fantasy. And when you trust me, I could tell you don't trust me, it still doesn't work. Because you got an experience that shows you something. So even the words I invoke is not enough to change your mind. So why can I not change how you trust me or not with words? All I had to do is, it's going to be hard. All I have to do is say it's going to be hard, and then, oh, that works. Huh? Because you're negative, you're pessimist. You expect things to be hard. You're afraid. You're stuck with a complicated, not only subjective, but abstract and insecure mind. Huh? Because of no faith, you get no chitani, you get no objectivity in perception. So the Holy One, once the base feeling of virtue came in, peace, forgiveness, compassion, gratitude, and mindfulness or incarnation, there's faith. And faith is an angular base on which you can see your whole existence. Where what could affect you? And if it does, wow, I'm just so happy to discover something new because I've got the Anuja principle wanting me to discover it. Huh? Always happy to discover the next thing. So a few of you just said, whatever, it's going to be hard, going to be heavy, going to be light, who cares? A few of you, you already went through terrible dharma, so you know about it. But otherwise, most of you just went, okay, brace for it, guys. And it's not in your head. It happened subconsciously inside. Just, okay, let's hang on. It's going to be a heavy one. Chitani is a mantra. It's a city like Shraddha. Okay. Chitani is that absence of objectivity. It's not taking things just as they are. It's complicated. Okay, so Chitani is to get that objectivity. Okay, I just missed a double negation there. Confuse you. Chitani is objective mind, and what prevents you from having the Chitani mindset, which is a holy way of perceiving, is all those insecurity and transformation in your perception. Okay, your idea of falseness. So let's take ideas again. Expectations. We know expectations. We've studied them in the part of the mask of the ego. Expectations. Can you name me expectations, guys? The three ones. What is it in English? False hope, overcertainty, and egocentrism. Okay, that's how you call it in English, right? So all these expectations, these feelings of control outside of now. Okay. Of course, it's wise to prepare for the future. It's wise to capitalize on your past experiences to make better choices for the future. All of this is good, okay? But in the now, why should you be in an emotional state of apprehension, of fear of what's going to happen, when all that matters is your current state right now? And the objectivity of Chitani, to have a purely objective mind, is not just the objective head. The objective heart, to feel things as they are. Okay, so it's an emotional existing way of being how they simply are. But tomorrow we're going to be out of food. We'll get some. We have no money. We'll get some. But we can't. Okay, so we won't. Let's eat now. Okay? Instead of the freakiness and the guilt, and as you eat your last planned meal now, you're so afraid, don't abuse. Because it's wise to keep for the future, but then, if you're just stuck up and guilty and so bad, oh, I'm eating my previous to last meal, oh, I'm eating my last meal, you won't digest it well, you won't deal with it well. For those of you who've been in poverty, I know myself, the torture of my own digestive system that is just so afraid of the last meal. When actually every day I've been eating a little bit anyway, you know. We get this frightening feeling at one point, okay, so we got 2 days without eating now. Okay, next. You know, what's next? You see, it doesn't mean it's not affecting you. Insecurity, it doesn't mean that problems should not affect you. Problems will happen, you will be affected. You will be hungry if you have nothing to eat. You will have problems if you can't pay your bills. Those are real problems. But the insecurity, the fear, comes from an absence of objective feeling. To take things as they are now. Chaitanya is that pure, objective, factual state of being. And it's very hard to develop without Shraddha. Okay? In Shraddha, that faith of my place is my place. Let's say your boss comes to you and they're talking about who they're going to fire and everything. You just keep doing your own job. Now, if that thing comes to your mind, because there's no faith, now this comes to your mind and your Chaitanya is broken. Okay? Your pure functionality as a mind is broken, is affected. So when you're out of Chaitanya mindset, you just keep doing your work, but you're so afraid of losing it that you're not even functional, where you could do mistakes and prove to your boss that you should be the one fired. Do you understand? If you're threatened of losing something, you're going to screw it up and ensure you lose it because of this animal defensive reaction. Okay? So if you're acting in a certain way with a lover and you're really insecure when the lover does not confirm your right of existence, okay? And you're very afraid of eventually losing that lover, or that the lover could get angry at you, so you're insecure and you start to dabble and make mistakes and you're not paying attention to your relationship in general. You're just stuck with your insecurity, and then the lover just finds you too tense and it just builds up and it breaks. It could. You know, the chances of freaking out on each other rise as you get carried away with the emotional pressure of what is not yet resolved. Okay? The Chaitanya mindset is a feeling of what can we do now? Okay, how can we resolve that? I won't lose my place if I'm blamed, if I'm validated or not by the other. I'm just going to do what is best now. Let's just do it. Okay? But I feel so guilty. I know a couple here. They feel so guilty of arguing that they have a lot of emotional stress. And because they feel guilty, they're defensive. So the moment one or the other says something, they freak out, so they get angry again, and then they feel guilty. And it just goes on and on and on. Okay, so maybe you recognize yourself in that. The fact that when we have emotional pressure stuck in there because we don't feel that we have the right to feel. We're stuck in the being wrong, you know, I'm so wrong. It affects our clarity of mind. So, Shraddha is the authentic, is the existential truth. It's not even your right to exist. By the way, you don't have the right to exist. You don't. You don't have the right to unexist either. You don't have the right to not exist. All of this is bullshit. There's no right to exist. As I was saying, if the only truth, the only fact is that you exist, and that there's nothing out of that existence real, then there is not non-existence. So why name it? Why consider existence, or the right to exist, the right to have a place, as something valuable or tangible for the mind, when it's obvious that you're just there anyway? You are just there. So what's all that dabbling about the fact, do I have the right to be just there? I don't know. Are you there now? Yeah, I am. Well, what's that permission thing from whom, you know, auspicious and obscure, but abscons works. Stochastic and abscons, that's words, that are real words, yeah. Abscons means nebulous and hard to define, okay? So the obscure, nebulous, hard to define, abscons presence of God that does not exist because He's the real one that confirms if you exist or not. What is this? That's an intellectual mind trying to rationalize truth, which is impossible. Okay? You get highly complicated by trying to just grasp reality when all you have to do is just forget about it. You're right there. That's your place, okay? So your authentic right to exist is a falsified idea that you could actually lose it because there's no one giving or taking away the right to exist. Huh? That does not exist. That concept is not real. You are there. That's period. Okay? Start with that. Shraddha, I'm here. It's the only truth that matters. Chitani, I feel. I experience. Chitani, I experience thing. It's the objective acknowledging, oh, so that's what's going on. That's it. With no judgment and interpretation. Okay? So that's the objectivity of Chitani. It's not just the intellect, it's the feeling. It's mostly how your mind is felt and lived. An experience of mind is lived. Objective. Mind / I'll say heart. Okay. Chitta is the intellect, heart, everything combined. Manasa is just the intellect. Okay. So chitta in the objective acknowledgement, I'm afraid right now. And just breathe it and live it and don't act on it. Okay. So when you lose chittani, you're pushed out of the now experience. When you lose your objectivity in your experience, your lived and felt experience, you just start to freak out. And then the blame comes. Then the fear of losing your shraddha, your place, your existence. Then this idea that you have a place that you could lose. What is this place that you could lose? It doesn't exist. You're just there. And that should suffice. Just find a way to be there comfortably. More than incomfortably. Just do your best to manage your life in the best way you can. So that mindset, that feeling of, that's what I feel now. Now how am I going to react on this and start to pull strings and control and manipulate? Okay? And this is what throws us out of the holy state of being. The Rishi Naya is the holy behavior way, the holy way of being. Okay? So let's take examples again. Okay? What throws us off? I took the example of a boss informing everyone that some people are going to lose their job and they're trying to decide who. And then you're not objective anymore and you're feeling, your insecurity carry you over so you can't concentrate on your job. So obviously the boss is going to choose who is more able to deal with the pressure. And keep doing the work as it should be because these are the kind of people that they prefer having. But you can screw it up because you don't have this clarity of just let's see what happens, you know. So the people who are more insecure losing their job tend to be those losing their job more. And the people who don't really care and they say, I'll find something, there's always a way. Right now I'm just here, I'm going to do my best. These are the people that end up with a lot of security because they act and live that way and this is what happens. Okay. In your couple, same thing. Relationship with parents and children. So the more tension there is, you want to have a beautiful relationship with your parents or your children, but you have your fears that something's going to go wrong. So because of that, you need to implicate yourself and you try. You know, parents scold their children more, try to apply more pressure. You have to be more like that and that because I'm so afraid you're going to go wrong. And the more you apply pressure, children just say, man, you're freaking me out. Fuck you, I'm going away. And then, no, you can't go away. And then it just builds up. Because both parties are out of clarity, out of certainty, out of simple objectivity. Okay? So it's a hard concept, but it does happen. Okay? And we have to pay attention to it when this happens. Okay? So breathe and try to look at yourself. Let's do an experiment. Okay? Find where you are absconds with yourself in your life, where you are just acting weirdly, you don't know what you should do, your choices are all weird. With which guy should I go? I've got too many options, whatever. All this stuff, all these judgments you have, let's take a moment to find a moment in your life, in your past, because it's a good word, past, we're going to use it. Was there an experience that you lost your stability, and because of that, things just got carried away? Snowball phenomena happened, it just kept growing as you threw it down the hill, and you just screwed up everything because of the pressure was stripping away the clarity required to act in a responsible way. Now, you all know that. Moments you get carried away, moments you... For a few of you, just a few of you, it's you hide from the public. You're like kind of sociopath people, just afraid of society. So you hide. You just enclose yourself in a little closet, a little room. And the more you isolate yourself, the more you're afraid of society. And you go in society all afraid, so they find you weird, so they push you away, so you're even more afraid, and then you get carried into becoming a zombie or a freak or an isolated person. Okay? Maybe it happened to a few of you. Look at it. Look at how your own behavior got you in the worst possible scenario anyway. Okay? And breathe. Feel the emotion. Chitani is to accept that. It's fate, but in the heart, I'm just going to do my best again next time. That's it. And I might screw up again. Next time, next time, I'm just going to do my best. Be as simple and joyful as possible in every situation, in every contact. And I might be lacking in some competence, so I'm going to screw up a relationship or a contact or a social interaction or a job, and it's going to happen again. So if you have emotional pressure, if you have this stuff inside you, you have to look at it. Study your own behavior. Study how you are in your relationships. Do I always have a clear mind, or do I get carried away with the animal pressure, with the emotional pressure, and then I can't even think clear anymore? Okay, and then we do stupid stuff, we regret, we do even worse choices. It happens. If it happened in your past, we'll look at it. Did you ever freak out after someone? Start to yell like crazy and get carried away? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anger management, they call it. We want to be responsible with what happens. There's this power inside that just projects. So Chitani would be, wow, I'm very angry right now. I think the wisest way is just to take some time to let it settle, then we can talk again. But no, we don't do this. We're animals. So what we do, we get carried away, we freak out, and we're out of Chitani. We're out of the Rishi Naya state. And we just project. You freaking bad person. You're such a sphincter. You're such an exit wound. I just profoundly hate you, and you just project all that. You just go blah. You vomit your stuff. It's your stuff, but you vomit it at someone else. Now you expect that person to say, "Oh yes, you're right." What? You actually expect the other to learn humility from that freaking out. I mean, what crossed your mind to think it was a solution? Well, that's the point. Nothing crossed your mind. It just went, ah! Oh my God, it's been 3 hours, I've been shouting now. Maybe she got it. Maybe that's why I'm on the porch with my luggage. Maybe I should apologize. Could be too late. She doesn't have Chitani either, okay? It's a bit playful. I enjoy the humor. I enjoy also that you can still contemplate your emotional states, because we want to talk about the bad stuff that rises inside you, Chitani requires humility, requires absolute humility. It requires you to think, to perceive yourself as you are. I have been misadapted in some of my behaviors. Misadapted does not mean wrong. It means that society expects you to behave in a certain way and you kind of just did not. Society expects you to hold your emotions for yourself and resolve them, and then you went and you were too awful with people in public. Okay? In my teams, I was a sociopath. I was misadapted. I wasn't wrong. I simply did not act like the average. That's it. It's nothing wrong, but it takes humility to admit, oh, I was simply different. You know, some of you have been different because, well, you like spirituality today, so forcefully at one point in your life you made a change and you have been the weird one. But you can think of a moment where you were the different one in a crowd and you felt excluded. You were not wrong. You simply did not behave with conformity out of respect. Sometimes you're behaving with conformity with others out of respect and compassion. Sometimes you're just afraid not to be included in a group. But sometimes it will happen that you do not do what is expected of you in social contacts, in a bar, at the restaurant, in your own bathroom alone, you know, in family meetings, in business meetings. You kind of don't fit. There's a place that if you go eat and you don't have a tie, you don't fit. I mean, you're not born with a tie. You know, it didn't grow as a second male organ in your no, it's something added, you know. So it's not like if you were wrong not having a tie, but if you go in that restaurant without a tie, you don't fit in. Now, these restaurants are not popular anymore, but you know, we still have those. You know, if you go in a certain way and you just don't know how to act, you just step back and watch. And sometimes you were just yourself, and people went, "Who is that freaking freak? He's excluded. He's a bad, you know, it's not his place," kind of feeling. Chitani is the mind of objectivity. Oh, okay. It's okay. It's just a question of adapting. How do they behave here? And I'll do that. You know, just to fit in, out of compassion, to not disturb anyone. And the humility required to go inside you and think of every time in your past, okay, I did not act like anyone else. Sometimes you just look weird. And because you look weird, you're born not fitting in some groups. Take one of my great friends at the Shidva, who really does look weird. He looks like a live puppet, but he's made of flesh, I assure you. And he's fun to be with. He's cool. But he doesn't give a shit about what other people feel and think. He just acts, you know. And at one point, it disturbs people around him. And then he feels guilty and he feels not accepted. But he did not do an effort to just avoid causing stirs. Okay? I'm not telling you that you should not be yourself. I have the right to be myself. I'll act in any way I want. Okay, well, forget about gratitude and compassion there. Forget about forgiveness and peace. And forget about being mindful altogether. I have the right to act any way I want. I'm going to be myself. Being yourself is bullshit. You're not yourself. If it's the only thing you are, it does not exist. Okay? What is it? I have to be myself. What? You need to remain a pompous ass that we want to throw out? That's what you mean? Now, save us a few hours of trouble. Let's just leave now. You know? This idea, I'm going to be myself, is holding on to your identity. if it's the most compassionate thing to do to adapt to how a crowd behaves, just do it. And from your undercover position as a normal person, you can be yourself and talk about the topics you prefer. And if it gets to your level of conversation, the type of food you want to eat, or the way you like to behave, you'll find a crowd like that. But if you have a dramatic need to stand out, you're not in Chitani, because your mind is not objective, taking things as they are. But you're also not in Shraddha, because you're not in faith, you're not in your place. You know, when you need to stand out. I'm not talking about the colorful tattooed girl there. You're a girl? That's what you want to be? Alright, okay. I like to play with those things, you know. I'm not talking about how sometimes you're just colorful, then you tend to hang out with people who endure that, okay, who like it. I'm talking about certain behaviors you do. Just, you hold the door, they should have said thank you, okay, or then you got your hands full, they should have held the door. All these little things when you have a family meeting that doesn't turn right, you know, stuff like that. Because you needed to have that extra attention, that extra validation of your existence. Okay? That need that will fight to get more of that validation from the outside. Okay? So that's all, you know, the advanced Rishi Naya, everything is intertwined together. It's various states of being where we just have to take every part separately to have a bigger picture of what is the state of mind of a saint. What is the state of mind of a holy person? It's just there. It adapts. It does what it has to do. So when there's something inside you fighting for your identity, fighting, so, well, this is how I am, okay, well, you can be yourself elsewhere. Okay? That's what I mean. When you start to fight to be someone, you stop being someone. When you want that validation so much, we will take it away. As the same way that you freak out not to lose your job, you're just ensuring you lose it more. Because of the, you know, the instability that you have. You just freak out, freak out, freak out. Be in your place. Okay? In your guts, in your shraddha, your seated position. Feeling in the body just there. Simple. And then in the mind, with the contemplation of Chitani, just be in your guts, in your present feeling, in simplicity. And then look what is not simple. What does stand out? Oh, right now I have a dramatic need of attention. I want people to look at me. Take a breath and relax it. This is going to cause you to become sociopath, or just not adapt at this time, you know, temporary. It's going to cause, you know, weird reactions in your friends, at your job, in your family, in your relationship. That power that just starts to push and push and push for more, you can just communicate. If it feels appropriate to communicate, it's okay. Sometime in the past, it was a while ago, I said to a woman that we had been sharing a room for a while, I said, I feel like making love. Do you want to play? And she answered, you don't say that. That's a turn off. Oh, it's a turn off. Well, I would call that a judgment, you know? Because if I never say it, then you have to dabble with the animal game, have to make you feel it, yeah, get you in a mood, and if you're not in a mood, then I will invest energy for nothing, I'll feel rejected. That's why we have all this dabbling, because we play like the pheromones, like if we're still dogs going to sniff our asses and you know, and do stuff like that. Of course there's a question of getting in the mood, but what's the judgment about not being able to just say things as they are? I feel like having sex now. And the other person would say, well, you kind of caught me off guard. I'm not really in the mood. Okay? I still want to have sex now. So, you know, I'm not going to force you with a hammer. I'm just saying, can we take the time? And then say, yeah, okay, let's try it. And you take the time, and after 15 minutes, the other was in the mood. Huh? It's just take time of doing it. But now that I know that it's not a wasted experience. And what was that judgment about? You can't communicate these things. You know, judgments you have about sexuality and intimacy, and you can't talk about these things. What? I mean, we can put people on the moon and cars on Mars, but we can't say that we need sex or we feel horny at one point. You know, it's just an idea of how much you cling on life drama and everything being a game of what's he think of me now? What does he feel now? And just all in the dark. You could just open your eyes and have clarity right now. You could. If you dare communicate, if you dare just open up with no judgment. But no. We're humans. We just dabble around with wondering what's up instead of just talk about it. And, you know, yeah, but if I talk about it and he tells me something I don't want to hear. Oh, so you better wait 3 months and learn it by other means. And be insecure all that time. That's what you're saying? You see that thing about not being able to just talk simply about anything. Oh, I have no judgment. I can talk about anything. If someone tells you, I'm horny, I want to make love with you. You know, a lover approaches you with a desire and he expresses it with words. If it's a turn off, you're not free. Okay? You say, oh, I've got something more to integrate. I just had the idea that, oh, saying it with words take away the entire game that I like to play when I get turned on. Okay, well, let's play the game now that we know. We could. Oh, but it's too late, you told me. What, you want to keep dreaming? You see, there's a point where what causes you not to be able to just communicate as things are, it really comes and screws your experience. And then it's the same thing with the job. Hello, boss? I feel horny. No, that's not. Okay, humor is good. So, howdy, boss. I heard there was going to be people fired. Lose a job. I want to tell you that I really enjoy working here. If you want me to perform more or try to, you know, just talk about it. Saying, I really wish to keep working here. I want you to know. And I'm going to try my best to give you reasons to keep me. Thank you. You think the boss is going to say, brown noser, we're going to throw you out. I don't like this kind of... No, the boss is going to say, yeah, okay, this is the kind of attitude we want. In a business, that's the kind of people we want to keep. Those who are open, direct, doing what they have to do. They don't look insecure. If you are insecure, say, it's normal that I feel insecurity right now because I could be one of those losing their job. I'm still going to tell you how much I appreciate working here. And you talk about your insecurity, but you don't transmit, like, afraid anytime he walks by, like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my fucking job. And he says, what is wrong with that person? I don't like it, I'm going to fire her. You know? Do you understand? If you just go about, that's the Chittani experience. So it's a mantra, it's a city to contemplate. And everything I talked to you so far is not really Chittani. It's so basic. Everything I told you is just what I think the highest point you can hear right now. Because then it has to do with your perception of your existence. In fact, in simplicity, and your position regarding the God that you've imagined for yourself. That is defined, thus not the real one, but at least you can imagine having a relationship with it. Let's give a few more arms to Shiva and make it more powerful, you know? If Shiva is the ultimate power, why would he need arms anyway? It's a representation. It's a beautiful representation. It's inspiring. A very inspiring representation. The 1,000-armed Shiva is a very inspiring symbol. But if your Shiva is really that creature, you're talking to a filter in your mind. Okay, so you want to just go objective. Okay, now I'm going to talk to the God I'm afraid of because I don't know him. Who are you? Tell me. And life will take care of it. That's the hard to grasp Chittani, the objective mind. Considering mind is your gut and your feeling and what pushes you inside. You know those potentials that do not ask permission before they freak out. That's the work of Chittani, is working to just be there and take things as they are at that moment. And if you want to go in the mood of having sexuality, you set yourself in that mood. And if you want to be in the mood of being efficient at work, you go in that mood. But I'm tired. If you choose to stay tired and work and give a very crappy day of work, it's okay. But if you're tired, take the time to put yourself in the mood that you want to put yourself. And slowly become efficient out of choice. And you will do it. It takes 15 minutes, half an hour. Okay, I'm ready now. 2 coffees, intravenous, and find ways to go get those resources and have your mind on what you have to do. Okay? If you have a weird night of sleep and you're just a victim of nature and you will just be a slave of whatever fell on you without a responsibility, it's okay. Maybe you're an elder person and you can't function as much as you used to in your 20s. It's okay, you have to accept that. But if you have that focus and if you have that energy, breathe and think about it. Be patient. Put yourself in the state that you want to put yourself into and do it. Be in charge. Why? Because Shraddha, because this is my place now. My place now is being horny. My place now is being efficient at work. My place now is resting. Okay, what is my place now? Is to meditate? Good. And you've got your mind all crazy. Chittani is, okay, my mind's all crazy. None of my business. Because I am peace. You let the mind go crazy, it doesn't matter. Let it go. Just do your meditation. It takes practice, I agree. Okay. I hope that Chittani's speech was inspiring enough for you to grasp the idea of what is this objective state of being. I don't like to say mind. I really like to say mind, heart, guts, all the felt part of you. Okay. Breathe and observe. The Rishi Naya, the behavior of a saint, is an extremely simple way of being. Just there. And if everything is resolved, it's okay. And yet, whatever is unresolved, it's okay. Emotions rise, reactions want to happen, you're just conscious of them. You're still just there, in simplicity. Doing what you have to do. And you know integration works for you, so you do it. And it's not time to integrate, just act with professionalism. And integrate when you get the time to do so. The sooner the better. Observe inside, simplicity. That state of Shraddha and Chittani. Just there. Just now. And because of that, there will be peace. And because of that state of being, there will be forgiveness. There will be a patient and determined research of the truth. There will be a calm and focused research and development on your emotions. You will forgive. You will get to the understanding of the experience. And you will have gratitude. You know, the Rishi Naya makes sense in just simply being there. Simple, happy, pure. In that Shraddha state, there is no more need of validation. Validation is a sickness. So sit there now and let all these needs of validation, needs of a personal place, needs of being acknowledged as a good person, all this stuff, the need to be loved, just let it go. Just let it go. It will come back when it has to. It's okay. Just let go of that need of validity of your existence because you're right there. And it's okay. I can be just there. Just go with Shraddha now to amplify that. Shraddha, just there. You let go of your ideas of existing or not, loved or not, appreciated or not. Do others accept me? What does it change? You're right there. Being accepted is a dream. Let it go. Just breathe through whatever arises. Just take your time, contemplate. That is faith. With faith, being accepted becomes obsolete. Being loved is fun, but being accepted is a dream. There's nothing that makes sense in being accepted by others. Do you accept yourself as you are? It doesn't matter. You're just there. Accepting yourself is a dream. Don't deny yourself, don't accept yourself. It's all a joke, just forget it. Let that validation need fly off. Feel instead the abandonment that poisons you. I don't feel acknowledged or loved by others. Well, it doesn't matter. You're just there. You're safe there. You take refuge there. It's your house. That's the house of God. That's your immediate place of being. Shraddha. Faith. Faith is the truth. Faith is where you are. So we will not ask the question, when will I feel accepted? We will not answer that question. We will free you from the need to ask it. Free you from the need to ask the question, am I accepted? To free yourself from the question, what do they think of me? It's not to get the answer, it's to be freed from the questions about existing or not. Shraddha, find peace there. Find your understanding there. With compassion. Find yourself there. Don't accept yourself. Don't refuse yourself. Don't deny or acknowledge. Just drop off that mindset. You're just there. Grateful. I'm there. Shraddha, this is where I am. That's the base of all the other virtues, just sinking into you. And you're mindful. You're conscious, you're incarnate in that there. I'm just here now. It's just that. Just that. Shraddha. Shraddha. Now we'll move to Chittani. Knowing that when you will have these questions, Chittani, there will be a force inside. You won't even see it start. You'll see it eventually, but you won't even see it start, so natural it is. You'll want to validate something or to be validated. You'll get to the restaurant and ask, can I take this place? And no one answers because they don't care. Just sit whatever you want. But until someone answers, you're uncertain if you can sit there. You know, this stupid stuff that will happen. And then at the job, and with the friends, and if you have the right to live in this or that country, if people like you or love you, there will be those reactions rise. Remember, the Chittani state is to acknowledge, okay, I'll just take things as they come, take experiences as they come, one at a time, when they rise. Chittani. So it sounds like no one's perfect, so we'll just deal with it when it comes. But even that is a lie. Perfection does not exist. Imperfection does not exist either. There's no perfection or imperfection. Chittani is out of this idea of am I good or not. It's just, okay, what's going on and how can I deal with that? I'll just do my best, that's it. Just feel everything as they are and accept it. Chittani. Contemplate that. Just getting ready for that weekend to continue tomorrow. I have a little speech later today. Getting in the beat for that weekend. Stuff will happen, it's okay. I'll just deal with it as it comes. It's not about no one's perfect or I want to be as best as I can. No, there's no perfection. It's just a desire for efficiency in evolution. For the best of everyone. For everyone to be able to discover that love, you need to do your part. So you do it. Because it's wonderful. You feel better afterwards, so you do it. Objective mind, objective state of being, which will then produce an attitude of accepting what falls on you. Oh, a new part of my car broke. Oh, let's deal with that. Oh, someone is angry at me at work. Okay, it happens. It's not about if she has the right to or not. How dare she be angry at me? No, forget that, forget it. Oh, someone's angry at me. Okay. Doesn't change that I exist. Just doesn't change anything. I'm just there. I'm just going to deal with it one thing at a time. Okay, that's Chittani. So breathe profoundly and come back here. Keep this in mind, okay? This is just an introduction. We're going to do more work this weekend on those. There's another mantra. There's a third one that we're going to see after that break.